Hi, I'm Dr. Nelson Bulmash, the host of Health Matters with United Intentions Media Network. My guest today is Dr. Grace Stephen. She's both a chiropractor and a professional yoga therapist. Grace, it's a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you. I really appreciate being invited.
I want to ask you, I want to talk about yoga with you today, but before we get started, I want to find out your story. I want to find out what drew you to yoga.
Mhm. Initially, I was in college and I was under a lot of stress, and I would say I kind of dabbled in yoga. I bought a book on it and
Right?
was, teaching myself the breathing techniques and maybe some postures. And, life got busy, kind of put the book away, would bring it out occasionally. And then after school, I became really involved in different types of athletics, specifically inline skating, and I would travel all over the country doing races. So, with the legs going from side to side in this pendulum
Sure.
fashion, right? So, my normal cross training would be cycling, right? Just to get a different movement. But still, there was a lot of lower body tension. And so I started to take yoga class, also prevention of injuries and just to feel better in my body, become more flexible. And so that was kind of my start. I didn't really get into yoga or even consider teaching yoga until I was in a very severe car accident in 2008.
Wow.
And it really changed my life.
I remember that.
Yeah, everything that I did as far as cycling or running or just everyday life became something to do with great effort.
Sure.
It was exhausting.
Could you continue it?
So I found my way back. I was introduced to a woman in Cartersville, Georgia, who helped me recover after physical therapy. I had gotten so far, and I still didn't feel right in my body, and I still felt really tight, and I wasn't breathing well. I really was surviving and not thriving. And through the practice of yoga and props and other ways that she modified for me, my body and my mind slowly became stronger, more calm.
Right.
So just really experiencing life instead of forcing my way and struggling through it.
So yoga was a vehicle, if you will, that brought you back. It allowed you to reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
Because I know you're not even mentioning some of the really serious health problems that you had.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me this, why is yoga, I know it's very important for you, why has it become so important in the American culture?
I think in our culture, it's become so everything's so fast, and that's okay. There's nothing. Everything's kind of neutral. I'm not saying that's bad or good, right?
Right.
It is what it is. But we're moving at such a fast pace all the time, and it's become a chronic condition. And a lot of people feel like they're on this wheel and they want to get off or they can't take a breath. I
Sure.
see everyday people in my practice that come into my private office and they're like, is it just me? No one feels like they can handle it all. And so I think as a culture, we're saying, wow, this is where we're headed, and we might be able to,
Right.
we might not be able to stop that. But what can I do to take a step back? How can
Slow
I
life
just
down
take
a
a
little.
breath, slow down,
Yeah.
even if it's for an hour or a half hour? And I think that, we've become, and this is kind of cliche now, that we're human doers, not human beings. But I
Beings.
think that's what people are looking, just to be, right? We've
Right.
lost sight of how to just be.
Well, it's interesting you say that because as somebody who pushes very hard, and I don't like using the word push, but sometimes I have a lot of people, patients who want to be helped,
Yeah.
and sometimes end of the day after seeing 30, 40, 50 people, it starts to feel like I'm pushing to get to a finish line.
Right.
So I want to pursue this conversation with you because I know that yoga is more than just a physical expression. I know it's more than just exercise. And that's really the direction I want to go with you in this interview, in this conversation. I noticed these days that people are doing yoga with goats, with cats, with dogs, with beer, with wine. And I'm not an expert in yoga, so forgive my ignorance. How do you feel about this? Because it occurs to me like it's just a distraction. And I've always thought of yoga as something that's meant ultimately to connect you more profoundly with yourself and source.
Sure. Yeah, that I agree with that. And again, I never want to say anything's bad or good. It really is neutral, but it's what type of experience are you looking for?
Right.
For me personally, it's a sacred practice. And if we're looking to get out of the distraction, then it would not be appropriate to have fear with your yoga, or because
Right.
I think basically people are looking for an experience in general, right? And then you choose the experience when you want, because the experience, if we break it down more, experience is a sensation in the body.
Hmm.
And people are sensation driven, right? Okay, like if you want too much sensation, then you might do a certain type of drug, or you might do this, or if you
Sure.
want to numb yourself, you might go into alcoholism. There's like, to find that balance of a sensation that helps integrate you as a whole versus too much excitement, or now we're going to go down here and numb, right? How can we as a culture find
Balance
that
point.
balance point of
Right.
integration? Yes, I'm not scared of the sensations in my body as fear or anger. If we learn that these emotions create a sensation and we use them to be curious about ourselves, right, instead of being scared of the emotion,
Yes.
that's a healthier way to be. Now, if you want another distraction, then by all means you can do beer,
Wine and
or
goats.
wine, yoga and goats, or
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you
yeah.
want to numb yourself a little bit, you can do the
Right.
beer and yoga. But ultimately, I think this is a sacred practice that has been done for 5,000 years, and that's the reason why it's around, because it's not a fad. It's bringing you back to source and to self.
Right.
And
Beautiful.
yeah, it's a lovely place to be, really.
Excellent. Grace, we're going to take a quick break, get a word in from our sponsors.
All right.
Folks, I'm Dr. Nelson Bulmash. You're listening to Health Matters through UI Media Network. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Tim Ray, founder of the United Intentions Foundation, where we offer resources and programs to help others awaken to the power of their intentions. One of the ways we get this great message out is through our UI Media Network, which is a platform for people to share their stories and wisdom on air on how they live a life with intent.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Kramer, and Tim and I united to create systematic change on a global scale. We realized that there were gaps in our educational system. Kids were going home every day being bullied, teen suicide was on the rise, and our Imagine If education program helps students understand that they have the ability to create the world around them through their positive thoughts and inspired action.
As we become adults, we often forget how our imagination creates the world around us every day, and how our intentions and our actions from that imagination determines what we experience.
Our goal as a foundation is to use the money raised to offer it free to kids, parents, adults, other communities, other nonprofit organizations, and teach them that they have the ability to create the world around them.
We are so grateful for this incredible cast of paradigm shifters who are authentically changing this world on a global scale.
It's time to wake up, Atlanta. Wake up your inner self to the power of your intentions. Wake up to co-create the life you desire. Wake up to a conscious way of looking at the world with the uncensored Shannon McVeigh and the conscious voice of the South, Tim Ray. Tune in to Awaken Atlanta on the UI Media Network, sponsored by the United Intentions Foundation, and discover a whole new way of looking at the world as we bring to you everything from wellness to entertainment, motivation to current events, games, contests, prizes, and much more. Listen to us on Spreaker and watch us live on Facebook at United Intentions every Tuesday and Thursday from 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern. You can follow us on Instagram at United Intentions and on Twitter at Higher Intentions. We hope to see you there.
Download the UI Media Smart app at uimediaapp.com to watch and listen to all your favorite shows anytime from anywhere in the world. Shows that enrich, entertain, educate, and feeds the conscious cells throughout your body. We bring you never heard before topics in health, inspiration, music, psychics, numerology, current affairs, controversies, and much, much more. So what are you waiting for? Visit www.uimediaapp.com and start raising your frequency now.
Hi there. I'm back. I'm Dr. Nelson Bulmash. You're listening to another episode of Health Matters. My guest is Dr. Grace Stephen, and we're talking about the profound nature of yoga in our society and in our lives. Once again, thank you for joining me today. Let's go in a little bit deeper, because once again, I know that we find our level, if you will, or our depth of expression and experience in whatever we do. So I'm not making people wrong either. I was just a little confused when I started seeing, hey, let's do yoga and beer, or yoga and wine, or yoga and goats. I thought, well, isn't that a distraction from the very nature of what yoga is supposed to do for us or present an opportunity for, which is to go inwardly.
And it is a personal pet peeve of mine, but...
Yeah, that's okay, right. So what I want to talk about is how you can use yoga as a vehicle, if you will, or a reference for your own life and your own well-being and that internal dialogue that we all have.
Yeah.
Meaning, are we there to be the observer, or are we there to be judgmental?
Exactly.
Talk a little bit about that.
That's one of the first things when you approach any practice, right? Or approach anything, your job, your life, whatever you're approaching, it's how you are approaching it is really going to either make this experience lovely or an experience that's unpleasant, right? So actually, I would like to offer people some questions to jot down. So if you have a moment to grab pen and paper, to jot some questions down that, yes, we're talking about within the framework of yoga or the context of yoga, but you can ask yourself these questions in anything you're doing in life. And I think you could really benefit from it. So
let's look at that. So I'm somebody, I show up at a yoga studio, and I have no knowledge of what yoga is. Take me forward.
So the first thing you'd want to do when you come in is just don't have an expectation. Everybody's so scared, and they'll say, I'm flexible, or they think they have to be flexible to show up.
To do yoga.
When, the funny thing is, the people that have most difficulty really getting into a pose is the one that are really flexible for them to actually get benefit and sensation.
Got it.
So, you don't have to be flexible. You just have to be flexible up here.
Right. Okay,
in your
very
mind,
good point.
Right?
Very good. You got to be mentally flexible.
Yes, showing up. And when you show up, what story have you taken with you? Right? Because the story, we're a society of stories. I'm people in class are going to make fun of me, or I'm not going to do the right thing, or what if I shame myself somehow, or
Isn't that
everyone
funny
has
how that drives us?
Our stories drive us.
Yes.
So you get to the yoga studio and you take a moment, honor that transition, take a breath, and say, what story am I bringing in here? And then maybe I could leave that story outside the door.
Fantastic.
Right? And just be open. So maybe writing down, how are you approaching your practice? And again, that could be how do you approach your life?
Thank you. I was just going to say, so your practice could be a reflection of your life.
Your, being a parent, right? How am I approaching this? Am I bringing a story, or can I be open? All right, so that's a good way to start. And going back to, I think, something you said earlier, are you judging, or are you the observer?
Yes.
One of the most important things we could do is have just a wonderful, magical curiosity about ourselves. And that takes like half the fear out of everything.
Yes,
right?
It does.
So it gives you a little space between why am I fearful of this? Or, oh, I don't want this to come up, so I'm so scared. And just what is that? What is the story? Again,
Love
we're
that.
a society of stories, right?
So, So make up a better one. Make up one that's life-affirming and supportive.
Absolutely. My teacher in China, he would always say at the end of our practice, he'd say, we're always going to make up a story. So tell yourself a healing story.
I love it.
Right? But that takes practice. That's a practice too. So leaving the judgment, the story behind, and having a healthy curiosity about yourself, which leads into, once you learn more about yourself, leads into better and increased curiosity, better relationships and increased curiosity about maybe even the relationships we have difficulty in.
Right.
Right? It could be a family member, it could be a boss, right?
Yep.
So again, that's how these questions are great for yoga, but they translate to everyday life.
I
Right.
love that.
So,
So it really is a metaphor for your life.
Absolutely.
Your yoga practice is a metaphor for your life.
Yes, absolutely. So, basically we have the postures, or some people might say yoga poses. And this is one of my, but these last
Another little
two
pet
things
peeve
are,
is coming up here. Okay.
Well, I don't know, it's a pet peeve, but the word asana, and for those of you that haven't had experience with yoga before, the word asana is the last, it's like the suffix in every single posture, the name of every posture. So you might say balasana, which is child's rest.
Okay.
But asana means seat. Because the yogis thousands of years ago, they did the physical movements so they could release their body of tension so they could sit for many hours of meditation.
Interesting. Okay.
Right? So with the word asana meaning seat, instead of posing, this is what I ask people, are you posing? Are you posing in life? Are you posing in your yoga practice? Or are you going into a posture that is a seated posture, that seated meditation? So if I'm going into warrior pose, right, yes, I get into the physical aspect of it, but can I find the seat of it? Can I find the path of least resistance, where I'm working too hard or I'm stagnating the breath, right? Sometimes we don't know the balance between effort and ease in life, and effort and ease in a posture. So what yoga helps us do is find that inward expression if we are curious, and then that inward expression releases out towards the extremities instead of posturing or going into a hard pose and then trying to get back in, right? So it's really kind of a convoluted way of saying, are you practicing or living internal or external?
Right.
Or can both
Meaning,
of those
are you focused more inwardly or more outwardly?
Are you distracted, as we said before? Are you focused on different distractions? Or can you go inward again with that curiosity? So when you're in a pose, are you just concerned about, does it look good? Am I matching up with everybody else in the class?
Yes.
Or can it be a true, visceral, wonderful internal experience expressing its way out to the limbs? So it's kind of a different way to think of it. Instead of saying just going into this posture, getting strength or getting balance, it's an inward expression outward.
Beautiful. I love that.
So again, ask yourself, am I just posing or am I experiencing this pose? Because experience, as we said before, is an internal sensation.
I love that.
Right?
Beautiful. Very, very, very nice. So do you ever take what's going on in your current state and bring it into your yoga practice to help you process it more effectively?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If there's something that, I'm up against the wall with, or a relationship that, everything's relationships, right?
Yes.
So whatever relationship I am, struggling with, it's never just one-sided.
Right.
Right? So, and I'm not Buddhist, but the Buddha says that, whenever we're feeling, I'm paraphrasing,
yes,
right? Like
okay.
stress
Please.
or tension, it's because if we're unhappy, is because we are basically attached to something.
Right.
So if I'm feeling dis-ease in my body or my mind because of a relationship that I'm having, maybe it's with myself, right? I can be curious about it, get on the mat, explore, what am I feeling? What are the sensations? Is it anger? Where does it land in my body?
Interesting.
Right? Because all of those sensations that we have, anger, sadness, all the emotions, right, lands in our body somewhere.
Right.
So I might notice, where am I feeling it? How can I release it? Is it in my belly? Can I stretch and, release tension from there?
Sure.
Can I wring out tension from my spine? Basically, not only being curious here, where I'm kind of stuck, where it's landing in my body, and what postures can I do, or actually a moving meditation, we can call it, to release some of that stress or anxiety, and you start to find your way or navigate
Right
through
through it.
life a lot
Beautiful.
easier.
Grace,
Yeah.
we're going to return in just a second. Folks, I'm Dr. Nelson Bulmash. You're listening to Health Matters. We'll be right back.
Hi, Val Schwan, Director of Counseling at Cumberland Academy. We just finished a group teacher training with Jennifer Kramer from Imagine If. All of the exercises that Jennifer led were very impactful for our teachers to understand perspectives of our students and what might lead to a better increased understanding and a higher social emotional EQ. It was by far one of the most positive experiences I've ever had here at Cumberland with our staff. Again, we enjoyed it. It was fabulous, and our teachers can't wait to see her again.
Does your health really matter? Join Atlanta-based chiropractor and naturopath, Dr. Nelson Bulmash, as he takes a fresh look at today's most interesting health topics with functional medicine's leading doctors and experts. Learn how to feed your mind, exercise your body, and nurture your spirit in the way nature intended. Catch him live every other Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on WDJY 99.1 FM, on Facebook Live at United Intentions, and on the official United Intentions Spreaker channel. Consider your appointment with Dr. Bulmash booked, because your health matters.
Do you want to learn how you can stop sabotaging yourself? I'm here with Dr. Vern Morgan, and I think he's about to tell you just that.
There's great new technology which will allow you to change the old negative programming into very positive strategies. And we do that by using and delivering repetitively these strategies, bypassing the conscious mind and influencing the subconscious mind.
And to learn more, go to unitedintentions.org and click on Shop and make the authentic change today.
Hi there, I'm Dr. Amy Dayries, a general and integrative dentist in Roswell, Georgia, and I'm also a spokesperson for the American Dental Association. You know, as a dentist, I tell my patients that the mouth is the window to one's overall health, just as the eyes are the window to one's soul. After working in general dentistry for the last 25 years, it has become my desire to offer good health resource information to everyone around me, empowering members of the public to become their best, healthiest selves. The Whole Healing Radio Show features practitioners from dentistry, healthcare, and nutrition about the cutting-edge techniques available. Together, my guests and I will show you how to implement lifestyle changes, achieve your personal goals for health, and heal the parts of you that may have been forgotten. When your health is intact, you can go on to manifest your ultimate dreams. Become the best version of yourself. Join me, Dr. Amy Dayries, on the Whole Healing Radio Show to learn how.
Hi, I'm Dr. Nelson Bulmash. You're joining us for Health Matters. My guest is Dr. Grace Stephen. Grace, thank you again for being here. Let's pick this up a little bit. The reason I asked you the last question, which was, can you take the current issues perhaps that you're experiencing, maybe struggling with, that might generate anger, they might generate joy, they might generate frustration in your yoga practice, is because it seems so perfect to me, given that yoga is such a balanced, centered, flexibility-driven expression.
There's, and you say flexibility, and I do want to say to the listeners and people who are watching that it's not just flexibility of the body.
No.
It's flexibility of the mind. That it's critical, right? That is so critical, and that actually brings me to the last pose or posture, however anyone wants to call it, in yoga is called Shavasana. And this is the one I say is like the critical point of, like, I almost think this is the most important pose of your practice at the end. Again, here's that word asana, right? Shavasana, or people might call it corpse pose, where you just lie on your mat, you know, eyes closed or eyes open, but just being still for 3 to 5 minutes. Now, again, because we are so driven towards experience and sensation, I noticed that a lot of students struggle with just being still for 3 to 5 minutes. Probably the most difficult pose. You might think it's a handstand or a headstand. I think for some people, the most difficult pose is that Shavasana, just being there in your body. And again, if you go back to that curiosity, why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? Can I remember a time where I felt relaxed or a time that I felt joy and then land that in my body instead, right? Choosing a different story
Right.
for those moments.
Beautiful.
Now, when I have a student go into Shavasana, I always want them to be comfortable. Maybe we've gotten a little bit warm while we're doing it. They're going to cool down when they're lying on their mat. So I often offer them, would you like a blanket? Do you need something under your head? If they have a back issue, because I work with a lot of people that have,
Sure,
have
they're-
back issues, and would you like something to support under your knees? And 9 times out of 10, people say, no, no, no. And it becomes, after working for 50, 55 minutes,
Right.
and putting all this intention, experiencing the stuff in the body, and working through this curiosity and all these lovely gems, and then we're going to lay there in 3 to 5 minutes, I'm cold, but I'm going to muscle through it, right? Or my back hurts, but I think I can make it through 3 to 5 minutes, right? So then the question becomes, in my life, when I'm offered support, do I take it?
Yes.
People are so burnt out, but oftentimes they might say, well, I'm better doing this than anybody else because no one can do it right? But then it becomes a point where you never get a break. Like, if you can't let support in, you will burn out.
Yes, you will.
So that's what I love about Shavasana. It's that time, let me get quiet. I might not be quiet for 3 to 5 minutes the rest of the day. And then when I'm quiet, I can take a moment and say, how can I let support come in? Because we can all use support. Maybe someone's life is so busy, the only support they'll get is when their yoga teacher comes over and says, here's a blanket because you're going to be cold.
Probably a lot of truth to that.
Shavasana is so important. And my students that are out there that are listening, you know how I feel about Shavasana, right? It's like, let the support in. Support can come in from all different ways. So where in your life, again, when we're bringing that back to life, where in your life are you offered support and you often don't take it? And so what I tell my students, if you're not taking support, if you're not getting the support that you need for 3 to 5 minutes, where in your life are you refusing the support you need?
Wow, beautiful. Sadly, we have to end here. I have many more questions to ask you for another time. How can people reach out to you?
So I have a website. It's gracefulyoga.org. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Grace Stephen.
Great. Thank you again so much.
Thank you.
I'm Dr. Nelson Bulmash, the host of Health Matters with UI Media Network. Remember to always be your best. I'll see you again soon.